There's an emptiness that follows the truth, a kind of hollow feeling that settles in your chest when you realize nothing will ever be the same again. When the foundation we built everything on begins to crack, all we can do is stand back and watch as it all falls apart. It's not the ending that hurts the most. It's the realization that we never saw it coming, and now we're left to pick up the pieces of a broken dream. The heartache isn't just in the change itself, but in the uncertainty of what comes next. We're left to wonder how we can ever rebuild what was once so perfect. Sometimes, the hardest thing to accept is that the love we thought was unbreakable wasn't strong enough to survive the weight of the truth. The devastation I feel isn't just about the present, but the future we thought we had, slipping away with every passing moment. We were once everything to each other, and now we stand as strangers trying to make sense of what went wrong. It's hard to find the words to explain the loss of something so important. But the truth is, sometimes things fall apart before we're ready to face them. I wish I could offer comfort, but the truth is that the only way to heal is to accept what has happened and find a way to move forward. There are no easy answers when everything you thought you knew is suddenly turned upside down. We are left to pick up the pieces of a life we never thought would end. We were supposed to be forever, but now we're left with the bittersweet memories of what we thought would never change. There's a quiet sadness in knowing that sometimes, no matter how much we want something to last, it isn't meant to be. I never imagined this would be the truth I'd have to share, but now that it's out in the open, all I can do is face the consequences and try to find a way through. The devastation doesn't always come from what's lost, but from the realization that sometimes things were never meant to be. The pain of this moment isn't just from the truth we didn't want to hear. It's from the future we now have to navigate without each other. In the aftermath of the truth, we are left with questions we never thought we'd have to answer, and a pain we can't easily escape. It's heartbreaking to admit, but sometimes the love we share isn't enough to survive the trials that life throws at us. The hardest part isn't the devastation we're feeling now, but the uncertainty of what comes next as we try to rebuild from the wreckage. What hurts the most is realizing that no matter how much we tried, some things were always destined to fall apart. Sometimes, the most difficult truth to face is the one that changes everything, and as much as we fight it, we know it's a reality we can't escape. I didn't expect this. None of us did. But here we are, forced to face a future we didn't think would ever come. The devastation we feel isn't just in the loss of what was, but in the deep uncertainty of what comes next. All we can do is move forward, even when it's hard. We thought we had time, but the truth is, time is never on our side. And sometimes we only realize what we had when it's too late to hold on to it. It's a painful reality to accept, but the truth is, not everything is meant to last. And sometimes the hardest part is letting go. As much as we wish it weren't true, sometimes the only way to heal is to face the truth that we've been avoiding for so long. What do you do when everything you believed in starts to crumble before your eyes? You hold on to what you can and try to make peace with what's slipping away. The hardest part is knowing that the devastation we feel is only the beginning of a long journey of healing and rebuilding. Even in the midst of devastation, there's a part of me that knows we'll eventually find a way through. But that doesn't make the truth any less painful. The truth hurts, but sometimes it's the only thing that can set us free. We may not understand it now, but in time, we'll find a way to move forward. We might not have all the answers yet, but with time, we will find the strength to rise from the ashes of this devastation and rebuild with wisdom we never had before. In moments like these, we often wish we could go back and rewrite the past. But the truth is, it's the lessons we learn in these dark times that shape our future. It's not the silence that cuts the deepest, but the realization that nothing will ever be the same again, and we must find a way to live in this new world. Sometimes the hardest thing is to look back and realize that we were too caught up in what was to see what was truly happening. Now, all we can do is face what's left. There's a quiet kind of devastation when you realize that the person you thought would always be there is no longer a part of your future. The truth can sometimes feel like a heavy weight, crushing us under its force, but as painful as it is, it's better to face reality than live in a world of lies. In the quiet moments when everything seems still, our minds race with thoughts of what we never expected to happen. It's hard to even put into words the weight of this loss. We stand at the crossroads of love and pain, knowing that sometimes the things we fear most are the ones that shape our future the most. There's a sadness in the silence between us now, a chasm that no words seem to fill. The devastation I feel is not just from the distance we've created, but from the realization that we are no longer what we once were. How do you explain the ache in your chest when everything you thought was certain suddenly unravels before your eyes? The devastating truth is, sometimes love isn't enough to save us. The truth often stings like the sharpest blade. It's not the pain of the moment that devastates you, but the realization that things will never be the same again. We thought we were strong, but even the strongest of us can't withstand the crushing blow of a truth we weren't prepared to hear. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't the change itself, it's accepting that the life we envisioned together has slipped through our fingers, leaving only memories of what we once hoped for. I never imagined that our journey would come to this point. It feels like the end of a story I never wanted to finish, yet here we are, facing the inevitable. It's as though everything we've built has crumbled in an instant, and now we stand in the wreckage of our own dreams, unsure of where to go from here. There's a type of sadness that can't be spoken. It lingers in the air, heavy with the weight of unspoken words and decisions we didn't want to make. It's never easy to accept that the love you believed in might not be enough to hold everything together. The devastation comes not from the end itself, but from the loss of what we once thought would last forever. We were meant to be, and yet here we are, torn apart by the reality that sometimes love isn't enough to heal the wounds we've caused each other. In the depths of our hearts, we know that everything changes, but we never expect that the change will come so quickly, so brutally, that it leaves us gasping for air. Facing the truth can feel like walking through fire. Every step burns, and yet we have no choice but to keep moving forward into the unknown. We tried to hold on, to make it work, but sometimes, no matter how hard you fight, life has a way of forcing you to let go. The pain of realizing that the future you dreamed of is slipping away is a kind of grief that doesn't have a name. It's simply the feeling of something beautiful falling apart. It's never easy to face the truth when it hurts, but sometimes it's the only way to heal the wounds we've been ignoring for too long. The hardest part of all is knowing that there's no going back. The devastation is not just in the present, but in the loss of everything that could have been. It's strange how something so beautiful can be torn apart so easily. I never imagined I'd be standing here, telling you that everything we've known is now a memory. When everything crumbles, you're left standing in the rubble, wondering where it all went wrong and how you could have stopped it from happening. I never wanted to be the bearer of bad news, but sometimes the truth comes crashing down, and we have no choice but to face it head on. The weight of the truth is something you can't escape. It follows you, drags you down, and leaves you feeling empty, with no way to undo the damage that's already been done. It's as though the world we built together has shattered, and I'm left standing here with nothing but the pieces of a future I can no longer claim. We held on to hope for so long, but now, in the face of reality, we see that hope alone can't heal what's broken. I wish there were another way to say it, but the truth is undeniable. The path we've walked has led us here, and it's not the future we thought we'd have. I never thought this day would come, and yet here it is, bringing with it a weight that is impossible to ignore. When everything changes in the blink of an eye, all that's left are the memories of what once was, and the pain of knowing we can never go back. I hate to say it, but sometimes the love we have for someone isn't enough to save us from the harsh truths we have to face. The devastation isn't just in the loss of what we had, but in the realization that we've been living in a version of the truth that was never meant to be. We were so certain of our future together, yet here we are, standing at the crossroads of what could have been and what will never be.